This is Algebra Lesson 6.3, Point Slope Form. If a line passes through the point x1, y1, and has slope m, the point slope form of the equation is y equals slope x minus x1 plus y1. Okay, so we take the slope and we put it in right here. We take the x-coordinate, we put it in right here. We take the y-coordinate, we put it in right here. The advantages of this form over the intercept form, the mx plus b form, is that we don't need to know the intercept. When you have situations where you're talking about how much the population was in the year 2000 and you don't know what the population was in the year 0, the year that would correspond to the y-intercept, it's helpful to be able to write the form with any point and not need the intercept. So the first example here says, since the time Beth was born, the population of her town has increased at a rate of approximately 850 people per year. On her 9th birthday, the total population was nearly 307,650. Write an equation in point slope form. So y equals, I need to put the slope in. Remember, slope is the rate of change, and so this is changing 850 people a year. X minus x1 would be 9 for 9th birthday, and y1 would be the population, the x-coordinate that corresponds to that, the y-coordinate that corresponds to that x. So if I have my equation in y equals form, with the point slope form, I can now use that to determine, if the rate of growth continues, what the population will be on her 16th birthday. 16 is an x value. It represents the years. So I'm just going to put 16 in where this x is. And then that I can just type it out. 850, 16 minus 9, plus 307,650. On her 16th birthday, the population of the town will be 313,600 people. When will the population reach 320,000 people? $320,000 represents the y, is represented by the y variable, so I'm going to substitute that in for y, and then I can solve the equation. So we tend to do this, and we will subtract the 307,000 number from each side. So when we solve an mx plus b equation, we know to subtract the intercept from both sides and then divide by the slope. So we're going to do the same thing when we start this off. Subtract the y1 value from each side. And then the next step would be to divide both sides by the slope. I think we have a tendency to distribute when we see that 850 in front, but it's actually a lot easier, fewer steps, if we just treat our PEMDAS in reverse, the add subtract first, going backwards, the multiply divide second, going backwards, and then our last step will be to attack the parentheses. I get 14.5, and then I can bring down the x minus 9. Now that there's nothing outside the parentheses, I can drop them. And my last step, I'm going to just rewrite this stuff up here. My last step then would be to add 9 to both sides to undo the subtraction. So 14.5 plus 9 leaves me with 23.5. So basically it will take 23.5 years to reach the population of 320,000 people. My last example says the table shows how the temperature of a pot of water changes as it is heated. Find the slope of the line that models the data. So I'm going to label my coordinates x1 and y1 as the first point. Now this is technically the second point and the third point, but what I like to do is I like to label them the first and the last point. It's the best way to get the right direction of my points. We can adjust if we have a scatter plot to make it more exact, but this is just the fastest way. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Slope is y2 minus y1 on the top. Same formula that we have done. And x2 minus x1 on the bottom. And 25 divided by 65 is 0.38. So let's do this. Now that I have my slope and I have my x1 and my y1, I can write my point slope equation. Y equals the slope x minus x1 plus y1. How long should it take the water to boil? So we need to know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So I will replace my y value with 100 and then solve the equation to tell me how long it takes the water to boil. So I will replace y with 0. And now I can solve by adding 25 to both sides. Let's see if I can type this rather than write it. I'm sorry, subtracting 25 from both sides. Because I have a plus 25, I need to do a minus 25, and then those would cancel out. So on the bottom here I have negative 25 equals 0.38 x minus 24, and that other thing is gone. The 25 is gone. Next, I will divide both sides by 0.38. I'll just switch. Divide 0.38. Divide 0.38. Negative 25 divided by 0.38 is negative 65.8 if I round it. So negative 65.8 equals x minus 24. And my last step then would be to add 24 to both sides. And that's not the right answer. Yeah, that's not the right answer because I said water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, not 0 degrees. That's when it freezes. So let's refresh here. This is actually going to be, come on. This is going to be 75. So 75 divided by 0.38 is 197. 97.4. And now when we add 24 to each side, we get 221.4. It'll take 221.4 seconds for the water to boil. I apologize, but that is it for the examples. Good luck on the exercises.